Hello, I'm Dawn Elsom. I'm here today at C&C Kitchens. I've got some lovely healthy recipes to show you in my healthy series. I'm going to start by showing you a healthy vegan lemon cake. Absolutely delicious. You'd never know it's actually plant-based and dairy-free completely. It's absolutely delicious. And it's very simple to make as well. So first of all, I've got some flour. It's plain flour. I'm going to add that to my bowl of dry ingredients. And I'm going to add a little bit of raising agent. So just a teaspoon of baking powder, just to help with the rise because I'm using plain. Again, if you did use self-raising flour, that's absolutely fine. Self-raising, you wouldn't need that raising agent to help the cake to rise. I'm going to then add some caster sugar. It's not the full quantity of sugar that you did use in a normal cake recipe. To keep it a little bit more healthy, it's a lot less sweet. So that's my dry ingredients. Now obviously this recipe has no eggs and it's substituted by an alternative milk. Now there's lots of different alternative milks on the market. I've got an almond and coconut one here, and you can buy oat milks, coconut milks, almond milks and soya milks, and whatever you like the flavour of, that will add to the flavour of the cake. So I've chosen to use a coconut and almond one today because that will give the cake, the lemon cake, a nice bit of almondy coconut flavour at the same time. So I'm going to whisk together now my wet ingredients. I've done my dry ones and I've got my milk. And if you did want the quantities of all of these and the recipe, it's in my description, so you can take a look at that for all the full recipe. So the milk goes into the jug with some sunflower oil. Now if you haven't got sunflower oil at home, you can use olive oil or rapeseed oil. Whatever you've got at home, it really doesn't matter. I wouldn't use my best expensive olive oil because that's nice in dressings for other things, but any oil will do in this recipe. I've then got some lemon juice. Now I've got 2 lemons, and I think if you use 2 lemons in this recipe, it gives a really lovely lemony flavour. If you don't like it too zesty and too lemony, then just use the grated rind of 1 lemon and the juice of 1 lemon. But I'm using 2. Just to give it a really nice lemony flavour. So that's all grated, and that goes in with my dry ingredient, my wet ingredients, which I'm going to add to my dry ingredients. So I'm just going to give them a mix together. There we go. And then it is just making the batter with the liquid going into the sugar and to the flour. So as you can see, no butter, you've got the oil, and you've got no eggs either, but you do get a lovely rise on this cake. It still rises really lovely and has a really nice lemony flavour to it. So gradually add the liquid and then just beat that into the flour and the sugar. Now this cake takes about 40 minutes to cook on 180. And again, just need to allow it to cool. And when it's cool and comes out of the oven, I'm going to show you how to make a lovely icing just to top the cake, a nice lemon frosted icing. It's quite a wet mixture, and that's why it is nice and moist, and that's why it does take a little bit longer to cook than a normal loaf cake. Do make sure when you take it out the oven after 40 minutes on 180 that you actually test it with a skewer to make sure it comes out clean, because it's such a wet batter that it may well take a little bit longer in your oven. So that's the batter now. It's quite a wet mix, as you can see, and I've already lined my loaf tin, and I've used one of these liners because I find that these are really good and you don't have to worry about greasing and making sure that your loaf tin comes out when it comes out of the oven. So it's a foolproof method. It's a pound loaf tin I've got here, and I'm just going to pour my batter in. There we go. Make sure you've got all that mixture in. It levels itself off because it is quite runny. And then that's ready to go into the oven. And then when that's baked, I'll come and show you how to make the icing when it's cool, to make it look pretty when it's finished. Right. Right, my lemon vegan cake has come out of the oven, beautifully brown and ready to decorate, ready to put the lemon frosting on the top of the cake. So to keep it in the vegan style and keep it dairy free, I'm using a plant-based dairy free spread for my icing instead of butter. I've given it a good mix already just to soften it, but you might want to leave it out of the fridge for 10 minutes or so just to soften down. And I've got some icing sugar. I'm just mixing the icing sugar up with the butter just to try and incorporate the spread with the icing sugar. You can obviously use an electric mixer for this if you so wish. A little bit more icing sugar and just add it a little bit gradually. I don't think I might need all of this. And you will need a little bit of liquid because otherwise it's a little bit stiff, and I think I'm going to pipe this because it does look nice if it's piped on top of the cake as a frosting. But if you don't want to pipe and you haven't got a piping bag, you can just spread it over the top of the cake. It's your choice. A little bit of lemon juice, that goes in there as well to keep with the lemon theme. And I'm going to grate some lemon on the top of this as well. Give that a good stir, a little bit more icing sugar into the bowl, big stir as well. And again, if you wanted to use any other citrus fruits for this cake, you could use a lime. So you could use lime in the cake and on the top to make it a little bit different. Or of course you could use orange as well, so you can vary the types of fruit that you're using. You don't have to use lemon, but it's a little bit like a lemon drizzle. Everybody likes a lemon cake. Tiny little bit more just to get the right consistency so that it's pipeable but not too stiff. A little bit more lemon juice. Oh, I've got a little pip in there, so let's get that out. Give that a good stir. And I think we're going to be there now. I think this is probably about the right consistency to be able to pipe it. Not too soft, but there we go. Actually, just for luck, I'm just going to put that last little bit in there so that it's not too stiff, not too soft, and then it's a little bit stiffer, so that it actually maintains the shape a little bit better when you're piping it. So I think we're just about there now. That's perfect consistency for the icing. So I've got my piping bag ready. Easier to pop it over a jug when you're doing your piping bag. It just makes it a lot easier trying to do it with one hand. So that's all mixed in, as we can see there. It's naturally quite nice and yellow. So that goes into my piping bag. There we go. Here's a spatula to get the last little bit out. In we go. And then we're ready to pipe on top of the cake. Squeeze the bag to get any air bubbles out of the bag, and then just pipe along the top. Any design, I'm just quite going to cover the whole top with some little rosettes. As you can see, nice and smooth icing, lovely consistency. Just about right for piping. Cover all the top. And then again, you can use this to set for a little while. You could even pop it in the fridge for 10-15 minutes so the icing firms up, so that when you cut it, it's a little bit firmer and doesn't run off of the cake. Just going to pipe along that bottom edge. I think we're nearly there. Just along this other edge. I've got a little bit of icing left, so I may as well use it up. And then I'm just going to grate some lemon over the top. A bit of lemon rind, get a nice bit of colour. And just to show that it is a lemon cake, here we go. I think that's probably about enough. And there we have our nice lemon vegan cake nice cup of tea, sit down in the afternoon, nice slice of cake, nothing better. Enjoy.